This video is about keeping children safe. If there's a safety issue, I try to get a hold of a mandated reporter because I already know I'm not going to be heard. It's not that I don't try. If I think that your children are in an unsafe situation, I'm going to let someone know. At Sally Treon's in Pueblo, when that meth addict lady dragged her daughter through the house and kicked her in the face, I let Jerry Sparks know. I also let Sally Treon and her husband know, and it's not like they couldn't hear the children screaming. Oh yeah, they couldn't hear the children screaming because they were too involved, even though it was screaming. They were busy with other stuff. Not okay. So yeah, I tried to get a hold of someone and get help. At that point in time, they had not it was a very unsafe situation for me at that point in time. It still is everywhere I go. I've got to worry about cops doing everything they can to deprive me of resources. And as a result, I gotta go to YouTube and I gotta go to Facebook to at least show the truth there, because I'm not allowed to show it in court. Without someone there in person. And of course, where am I gonna find somebody in person? Obviously, with a bunch of drug addicts and alcoholics and the like, they're probably not going to go in to talk to the police, even when they say that they are going to. Brett Roloff, prime example. Another prime example is Kayla Trujillo, aka Peaches. Now, with Harley, obviously, I do not feel that her children are in an unsafe situation. With Shannon Alvarado, obviously, I don't think that they're in any danger of physical abuse. The only one that would be physically abusive towards those children is Rick McCormick, who has an anger issue. And Shannon Alvarado, although she does have an anger issue, only when she's drinking, she's not physically abusive. And when she sees Rick McCormick do something that he shouldn't be doing, she does something about it. If I thought for one moment that Shannon Alvarado was going to harm her children in that way, yeah, I'd have gotten a hold of somebody to do something about it. Just like I tried at Sally Treon's. Just like I tried with Amy and Andrew Witcher. Amy and Andrew Witcher, well, Amy admitted to her being addicted to cocaine at the time when they were supposedly going to help me. And also to Andrew's meth use. And there are also many other people who are aware of Andrew's meth use. In the situation with Rand Ingersoll, absolutely those children were in an unsafe situation. They were being physically abused by an alcoholic. Of course, alcoholics don't want to fess up to it or admit that any of the things that they do have anything to do with their alcoholism or their alcohol consumption. And those were Amy Kingery, aka Amy Spencer's children. That's right. Amy Spencer intentionally, knowingly, and willingly dropped her kids off with somebody that she knew was a severe alcoholic. Severe. She goes, Well, before she died, of course, Ray Ingersoll was going through an entire 175 of Captain Morgan every single day. There's also situations that I was in with people like Christopher Tapp, who was physically violent towards me. Why? Because he had some Jameson in his system. That's right, folks. Most of these situations involve alcoholics. Well, for example, we'll use somebody who's admitted to drug use and drug sales on my channel. Her name is Kayla Trujillo. Would Kayla Trujillo harm her children? No. She is a very loving mother. Would she physically assault her children? No. She is a very loving mother. At no point in time whatsoever with her did I even have the slightest belief that her children were being abused. They're pretty well adjusted. They're good kids. They're happy kids. With nearly all of these people, it was understood from the start that the children do need to come first. Their safety needs to come first. With me and Rihanna, we had quite a few arguments over her beating on those kids. You don't fucking beat on kids. I can understand disciplining them, but I'm against physical discipline. Now, as far as the legalities of physical discipline, well, she also wasn't following the law when it came to that. I grew up in the system. I grew up with the abuse inherent in the system. Abuse by other foster kids, abuse by foster parents, and at some point you have to stop and think to yourself, all right, is it safer for this child where they're at? Or do we need to try to do something about possibly getting them somewhere else? The last thing I want to do is have a child put into the system where they could potentially end up being abused the way that I was. I'm going to pause this for a moment. With Mandy Singer, am I worried about her abusing children? No, not even close. There are a lot of people that I am worried about them abusing children, and there's also a lot of people that I have evidence of that abuse. Don't tell me about abuse if you don't want me to at least try to turn it in, because that's what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to try to send it to somebody else who might potentially turn it in. Probably a mandated reporter, because they have to. But if we've seen over the last 5 years, mandated reporting don't make a lick of fucking difference, because who the hell's going to enforce it? If these mandated reporters aren't willing to do their jobs as mandated reporters, that includes doctors, nurses, therapists, caseworkers, police officers. These are mandated reporters. And here in Nebraska, everyone is a mandated reporter. Now, by calling me mentally ill and trying to associate it with schizophrenia, yeah, my words don't mean shit. Nobody cares. And a lot of people who hate me type that at me a lot. Nobody cares, nobody cares, nobody cares. Alright, nobody cares. Cool. Except it's not cool. It allows those predators to do it again and again and again and again. With Sally Treon, she was guilty of neglect. For certain. Sally Treon also smoked pot. Is that abuse? Is that child abuse? No, it's not. There are some people who get drunk and are happy drunks. but they're going to be volatile. Somebody who's stoned, yeah, they're not going to be volatile. If they are extremely volatile when they're sober, they might be slightly volatile when they're stoned. Marijuana makes you docile. It also removes your ability to think coherently and effectively. A stoner is more likely to drive below the speed limit than above the speed limit. There's a lot of alcoholics in America and a lot of drug addicts in America. There's a lot of places that I was at where there were no children. When I was at Brett Roloff's and his girlfriend Amber's, there in Bristol, Virginia, the home of country music. That's what their sign says, the home of country music. How scared was I that Brett Roloff or Amber were going to abuse children because they were screwed up on meth? Not at all. There were no children there. But I was there. I can only imagine what it would have been like for a child who's making noise and moving around. Oh, somebody's messaging me. I'm going to pause this. This was going to be a much longer video. I'm sure some of you are glad that it is not. I got to go get some of my things and do an interview, and when we're done with that, I'll probably get right back to it. Y'all be safe.